you recording this on okay, we don't have this option on Teams. Do you have this option on your Teams? You can record? Okay, that's great. Otherwise, I was about to give you another link that is a YouTube link. So you can use that since I am recording lessons on YouTube. Okay? Okay, I do record lessons on YouTube. So they are present on YouTube. The channel name is Learn with Miss Sehrish. Okay? I hope my screen is visible. Let's start. Today we are going to learn about the biomolecules. Okay. What are biomolecules? Biomolecules are those molecules which make the living organisms, which are present in living organisms. Can you name anything that your body is made up of? What do you think? What is your body made up of? Your body is made up of protein. You there? Okay. So your body is made up of protein. That is one molecule. All your muscles, your nails, your hair, they all are made up of proteins. Okay. Can you name some other molecules like protein? Sorry, I couldn't understand. Fats, great. So we have a fatty layer under our skin. Sorry, I was about to write fats. We have fatty layer under our skin which helps in the insulation, which help to retain the temperature, you can say, or maintain the temperature by keeping the heat inside. Okay. Any other molecule? Water. Okay. So water is present in blood. That is also present in our cells. Cytoplasm is basically water. If we talk about the plant cell, it has a large vacuole which contains water and maintain the turgor pressure. So water is equally important since all the reactions in our body are taking place in the presence of water. That's why we say when we have dehydration, it can lead to death since the reactions cannot take place in the absence of water. So water is very, very important. Okay, any other molecule? Okay, I'm giving you a hint. You are getting something from your parents. What do you get from your parents? DNA. DNA. So DNA is also present in all of our cells. Okay, we have learned about mitosis previously, in which we mentioned that when new cell divide into two, when a cell divide into two new cells, the DNA replicate or duplicate. Right? We learned that. Okay, so there is one more molecule which is equally important in our body, that is carbohydrate. So when we talk about carbohydrate, we have learned the word cellulose. Where is this cellulose present? Is present. Yeah, in the plant cell wall. Good. So plants need carbohydrates because their cell wall is made up of cellulose, and they actually help in making a rigid structure around the cell. It protects the cell. We have learned about osmosis. When osmosis breaks the cell, if it does not have this cellulose, but plant cell cannot break apart, it cannot burst since it has cellulose. So it's a very rigid structure. Okay, where do you think carbohydrate is present in animal body? Means in human body or in animal body, carbohydrate must be present somewhere. Can you name any one part where this carbohydrate is present? It can be in your, sorry, it can be in your bloodstream. Yes. So it's present in the form of glucose. All the energy that we get is because of glucose. Okay. In which part of the cell is the energy, does the energy produce? You have learned this already. Mitochondria, great. And what is that process called which produces the energy? Aerobic respiration. Oh. So aerobic respiration basically use glucose and oxygen. Okay? Okay, great. Okay, let's talk about each one of this in detail. Okay, the very first one is let's start with carbohydrates, the simplest one. Okay, what do you think, which elements, like, because we are reading about the biomolecules, now we'll go into the chemistry of the molecules. Okay, so what can be the elements in carbohydrates? Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, these are the three elements that are present in the carbohydrates. Okay, now carbohydrates carbohydrate is a general term. We have different classification for this one. So the very first one is the, you can say, the simple carbohydrates or simple sugars, and second one is the complex one. Okay, the simple one are like glucose. Glucose is a very simple molecule. It has only one unit. One unit mean, okay, what is meant by one unit and many units? So when we talk about a bigger molecule or a bigger structure, in that one their particles are attached, or these units are attached to each other. Let's say this is the structure of cellulose, in which the units are have a crisscross structure, they are bind to like each other, and they have complex bonding. Okay, this one is a complex sugar. So let's say cellulose is a complex sugar in which many units are combined with each other. Okay, and these units are the simple one. So let's say it's glucose. Sometimes, okay, there is one other term that we need to use. There, in simple sugars, we may have a 5 carbon sugar, because you need to know the name. This one is ribose. This is present in DNA. Okay, this sugar is present in DNA. It's a 5 carbon sugar. And if it's 6 carbon sugar, there can be many forms, but we know which molecule we know the most is glucose. It's used in respiration process. It's produced as glucose in plants, and that's a separate process. We'll learn about those processes. Okay, so let's have a general introduction that there are two classes. One is called as simple sugar, the other is known as complex sugar. Okay, okay, so now I'm giving you a bigger view for this one. This one unit is known as monomer or monosaccharide. Mono mean one, mer mean unit, one unit. Okay, or this may be known as, in case of carbohydrate, it is known as monosaccharide. Okay, saccharide is the word we use for sugar. We say one sugar unit. Okay, one sugar unit is known as monosaccharide. So ribose and glucose both are monosaccharides. Okay, okay, So these monosaccharides, they combine together to make a complex, bigger molecule which is known as polymer. Okay, and in case of carbohydrate, we call them polysaccharides. Poly mean many and saccharide mean glucose units or sugar units, many sugar units. So I'm giving you one example. I have already given you one example. I'm giving you one more example, that is starch. You must have heard about this starch. It's a storing material in plants. Plants store food in the form of starch. We eat that starch. We get starch from the food. We get starch from plants in different forms, in the form of potato, rice, wheat, all contain starch. Okay, so starch is the we can say the stored material in plants. Okay, cellulose, I've already given you an example. Okay, these are in plants. What about animals? Yes, we store food. When we eat lots of sugar, all the glucose is not used up by our body. Some of the glucose or sugar is stored in our body, and that form is known as glycogen. Glycogen is stored in muscles. Okay, so when we do exercise or when we do some physical activity, these muscles then break these glycogen molecules. Okay, there is one interesting fact, that if you do not use these glycogen molecules over time, or they keep on storing and storing and storing, there would be chemical reaction and this would be converted into fats. That's why a person gets fat when he or she eat lots of carbohydrate or sugary things. Okay, that's why it is advised to cut off the sugar, excessive sugar from the diet. Clear? Okay. So this is the structure. Let's talk about its role in our body. So the first role is, it is a storage molecule. Like starch is a storage molecule, or glycogen is a storage molecule. Second thing, it is present in the cells like glucose, and it is used in the aerobic respiration as well as anaerobic respiration. That's a separate process. Anaerobic respiration means when there is no oxygen but your body needs energy, so at that time your body would produce energy, but the products are different and the amount of energy is very little as compared to aerobic one. Okay, it makes it's the quickest source of energy for your body. Whenever you feel low in energy, take carbohydrate, because it gives you instant energy. Okay, you won't get instant energy from protein or from fats. You get instant energy from glucose or carbohydrate. Okay, have you ever heard of this glucose sachet that are available? Because in summers it is advised to have those sachets because your energy really drained quickly, so it is advised to have those sachets with you, so you can reboost your energy. Have you ever heard of those? No, never. Okay, so this is not part of biomolecules, but I'm giving you an introduction of something. There is a thing called as pancreas in your body. There is a structure in your digestive system which is known as pancreas. It's a leaf-like structure like this. Okay, and it produces a hormone known as insulin. Have you ever heard the name of insulin? Okay, so in a normal person, when glucose level rises, this insulin converts glucose to glycogen. Okay, but in diabetic patients, the insulin is not able to be produced in a right amount, or not being able to produce at all. So they take insulin shots. Have you ever heard of this? The diabetic patients and insulin shots they take. Okay, great. So Insulin is the one which converts glucose to glycogen when you have excessive glucose in the blood, because your body maintains a glucose concentration. Have you ever used those strips to have you ever measured your blood glucose ever? Do you have any experience? No, never. Okay. So we have to maintain a certain level of glucose. If there is excessive glucose, then it is converted to glycogen. But there is another way around as well. If your glucose level drops, like for example when you do excessive exercise, or you are fasting especially, so at that time glycogen converts back into glucose. Okay, and that is done by another hormone produced by the same pancreas, but the name is glycogen. So these two hormones, they act opposite to each other. Insulin convert glucose to glycogen, and glucagon, oh god, I have written glycogen, sorry, it's glucagon. Glucagon convert glycogen to glucose. This is an extra information, glucagon, okay, that I'm giving you, this hormone one, okay, because somewhere in your syllabus it would definitely fall, so you must know. Okay, let's move to the next molecule. The next molecule is protein. Okay, if someone asks you, there is a question, then what do you think? What is the simplest unit of carbohydrate? What would you say? Unit. The simple unit or molecule of carbohydrate is monosaccharide. Okay, so carbohydrates are made up of monosaccharides. Okay, okay, though it's not part of your, like, you don't have to learn it, but the monosaccharide, you must know that there must be carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and how do they look like. Mostly it's a, this one is a 6 carbon structure, and this one is a 5 carbon structure, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are other molecules as well. Oxygen here, carbon, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so this is like a 5 carbon ring or a 6 carbon ring. 5 carbon ring is known as ribose, 6 carbon ring is known as glucose, or maybe some other. But glucose is the common one that we use. Let's move to the next molecule, which one is protein. Okay. Do you like gym? Like to do gym or exercise? No? You have just started. Okay. What advice they gave you? Do you get any advice before starting the gym? No? They didn't told you to have lots of protein, take protein based food? Never? No? Nobody has said you this? Do you have any idea about the protein shakes? Okay. Protein bars? Okay, great. Okay, so protein is the one which is basically has a structural role in the body, more of a structural role and less of the functional role. It makes your body. Let's say muscles. All muscles are made up of proteins. Okay? Muscles, yes, we need protein for the growth. Without protein, okay, since our muscles are because of protein, so we need proteins. We need. Okay, there is one disease called as kwashiorkor, in which the people or the children which do not get enough protein, it's basically in the areas which faces or which actually have famine, they don't get enough protein. So the children over there have skeletal structural body because they don't have muscles, and but their belly is quite bigger. So that is known as kwashiorkor. But this can be reversed when you take lots of protein. Okay, because protein helps to build up the body. Okay, one is the muscles. Second one is in your blood we have a protein known as hemoglobin. Right? What is the function of hemoglobin? This is the protein that carries oxygen or transport oxygen around the body. Okay, there is another thing I'm telling you, enzyme. Have you ever heard of enzymes? No? Yes. Okay, so these are the chemicals that help in the chemical reaction of the body. Chemical reactions. Okay, there is another one. Hormones. I have given you an example of insulin, right? So insulin is a protein which helps to maintain the glucose level in your blood. Okay, there can be other, like keratin. Have you ever heard the name of keratin? No. Okay. Your hair and your nails are made up of a protein known as keratin. Okay, antibodies. Have you ever heard the name antibodies? Okay. Antibodies are produced by white blood cells and help in building the immune system of your body. They fight against the pathogen, they bind with the pathogen and kill them. Okay. Next one. Okay, this one is a structural role, that's the major role in our body. What does it do? Let's move to its structure now. This is a structural role in the body. Okay. Yes, okay. How? Okay, there is one more thing that we have learned. In cell membrane, there are the carrier proteins. We have learned about this, that help in the active transport. Remember, we learned about the carrier proteins that help the molecules to pass through the membrane, right? Okay, so let's move to structure. So yes, it is made up of monomer and polymer structure. It has monomer and it has a polymer. Okay, the monomers are generally called as amino acids. So what elements are present in these? The elements are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Okay, some proteins may have sulfur, some may have phosphorus, some, but all proteins have these four atoms: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Okay, okay. So a human body has 20 amino acids in general. Now the scientists are saying there are 21 as well, but generally we talk about the 20 amino acids that make all these proteins. Okay, the interesting fact is, it's like a Lego where you put different sequence and you make a different thing. These 20 amino acids are joined in different sequences to have different proteins. Like there are hundreds of enzymes in your body. but all enzymes are different since because their structure is different, because their arrangement or the order which they follow is different. It may be ABCD, it may be ACABD. Okay, so different sequence of amino acid means different protein. I shall write over here. Different sequence means different protein. But this sometimes it happens since, okay, what makes protein in your, which organelle is responsible for making protein? Which part of the cell? Rough endoplasmic reticulum, because it contains ribosomes. Good. So ribosome is responsible for making protein. Okay. It may happen in your body that while these amino acids are arranging themselves in a chain, like there are some proteins which have 51 amino acid, there are some proteins which have 31 amino acids, there are some proteins which have different number. Every protein has a different amino acid number and different sequence. Okay, different number of amino acid and different sequence. It may happen that if some of the amino acid get missed in a structure, what would happen? This can lead to a disease. Okay, I'm giving an example. Let's say hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein. Okay, it has a proper sequence. If some of the amino acid get missed, it means the hemoglobin structure would be affected. This can lead to the inaccurate or the defected shape of red blood cells. So your red blood cells won't be able to carry enough oxygen since the hemoglobin is not in a proper structure. So their sequence should be properly checked by the ribosome, and it is, but it may happen because of different factors. There are different factors involved, but there can be a possibility that some of the sequence get missed out. Okay. So I don't think so you need to learn the names of every amino acid, but you should know the general structure, because this is important. It is used in other processes as well. So it has carbon in the center. There is one, since this is amino acid, so it has amine group, which is NH2 group on one side. It is an acid because it has an acidic group on other side, which is COOH. This is carboxylic acid. It has hydrogen on one side, or it has R group. Okay, this R group is basically a part of organic chemistry, and it's alkyl group, different parts are there. Okay, this information may be extra for you, but it's better to give you information. There are some amino acids which have more than one the COOH group. More than one. Okay? Or there are some amino acids which have more than one amine group. So if they have more carboxylic acids than amine group, then those are acidic amino acids. If they have more amine group as compared to the carboxylic acid, those are the basic amino acids. There are neutral amino acids as well, and I've told you in the start that there can be sulfur or there can be phosphorus present in some of the amino acid. Not all, only some. If I give you some amino acids, only some have more carboxylic acid, or some have more amino acid, or some have sulfur, or some have phosphorus. Okay. There is a molecule. Okay, I'm giving you some names. One is valine, leucine. These are the names of amino acids that are present in the human body. There is one glutamine, lysine. Shall I write? I guess glutamine and lysine. Have you ever heard of, there are like so many, uh, since there are so many multivitamins in the market, glutathione. Have you ever heard of this name? No? No, then leave it. We're not going to discuss that. Okay, they basically say there is collagen based and it improve your skin because yes, our muscles and skin is made up of protein. So they just ask you to get these to get a better skin.